focus. It's necessary to have a strong, strong focus. And work will give you that focus. Naturally, a person who approaches career for these reasons will draw from a deeper level of their being. In other words, if your intent is not just to work to make money to pay the bills or to avoid the pain and suffering that would come from not having money, if your intent is to work because it will aid you in perfecting your awareness, make you strong, teach you more about concentration, enable you to live in the environment you need to succeed in the study of enlightenment, if your motive in working is to work for the welfare of others, to make money for your own enlightenment process, if your motive for working is because you get a kick out of it, because it's fun to work, it's exciting. It doesn't really matter what your work is, but it's exciting to do well at something. It empowers you. It's an enjoyable feeling. Then you will be working from a very deep level. In other words, your intent here is most important, because you will pull a very deep level of power when you're working not just for yourself per se, in the way that most people do, but you're working for your enlightenment, to make it possible, to pay for your way, to pay the bills while you study enlightenment, to pay for your enlightenment classes, to aid others in their enlightenment, to have the things you need to enable you to refine your awareness and exist happily and further your self-discovery, and because you need a job, you need a career, you need a focus, because otherwise you'll just pick up lots of strange psychic energy all the time because you're not focused. There are billions and billions of people on the earth, and they're all like radio transmitters, and they're transmitting thoughts and energies and impressions, most of which are not directed towards enlightened states of mind. And if you're not focused all the time, if you don't always have a task before you, unless you're meditating, you will pick up these energies. So career then is absolutely essential, and it's a wonderful way to develop, of course, all kinds of good karma and to perfect yourself. So what I'm saying is, most important is your intent. In other words, think about these things and see if they make sense to you, and if they make sense to you, adopt them as policies in your inner life. And if you do, you'll find that work will no longer be a 4-letter word. It'll be a 3-letter word, fun. It's not what you do, it's why that determines the karmic result. The karmic result meaning, if you work for these reasons, you'll find that your work will be pleasant. You'll go into a very high state of consciousness while you're doing it. You'll actually enjoy it tremendously. And you'll do better at it, because you will seek to bring a level of perfection into your work that others don't. Most people want to do minimum work for maximum money, and then they want to get away from work and go, in quotes, enjoy themselves. And of course, they really don't enjoy themselves, do they? They're pretty unhappy most of the time. On the other hand, people who work because they want to bring about perfection, not just to their work, but to themselves, and of course they see their work as an extension of themselves, are not worried about running as soon as 5 o'clock comes. The point is to do a good job, because that will empower you. To do a poor job will make you weaker. Sometimes you have to draw a line. I mean, you don't want to work all the time and neglect your meditation, neglect your athletic development, neglect the practice of martial arts or other arts, neglect just going out and having a good time. Going hiking, going to a movie, having fun, being with people you enjoy. But if you seek enlightenment, if you wish to raise your mind into other worlds of light, peace and perfection and power, and joy and knowledge and balance, then career is a very important item on your agenda. And as I've indicated, the place to start with is why we do something. You need to think this out in your mind. I've given you some ideas. If they make sense to you, adopt them as policies and start to dwell on these reasons. Feel them out. Write them down. Make them part of your life. Then approach your career from that standpoint, and you'll see you'll have a very different career. You're much more apt to be successful. You will be successful. In other words, just to adopt these ideas and live them is career success. Your career now will bring about a high level of empowerment. That's the success. The success is not promotions or making lots of money. That, of course, inevitably will happen to someone with this attitude, because the best workers in the world are people who are studying enlightenment, who are using their careers as vehicles for their enlightenment. They're going to do a better job than anybody. And because, of course, you meditate each day and you're developing your mind in ways that most people can't imagine, you bring a full mind and one-pointed focus to your work and a level of creativity that comes from your meditation, which will make you absolutely great at what you do. Now, the next question that comes up, of course, is what to do. Now that you know why you need to work, and of course, obviously you know how to work, and that's perfectly, giving it your very best, without attachment to results, just doing it for the sake of the work and having a ball doing it, and drawing the power from your zazen practice, your daily meditation, and the clarity from that practice, and from your study with a teacher, with a Zen master, and from your daily experiences in life, and bringing it all to your work. Obviously, that's how one works. Now you know how and why. What do? It really doesn't matter, but it does. You can do anything. You can be doing housework. You can be lifting boxes all day. You can be running the government, teaching people to be enlightened, teaching college algebra, composing music. It doesn't matter, but it does. It doesn't matter in the sense that all work is the same, and if your motives are high and noble, and your work is hard, you do a good job, then whatever the task is in your life, whether it's doing your laundry, working out, singing, dancing, playing, or of course your career focus, whatever it is will benefit you. So it doesn't matter what you do, but it does. In that there are some careers which will develop your mind more than others. And in the study of enlightenment, it's most important to develop your mind and your body. Some people are professional athletes, professional dancers. They use the body, and working on their bodies continuously will aid them in their enlightenment, because the discipline of the body and the focus required will also aid them in developing the mind and their focus of the mind. In other words, the mind is a muscle, in a sense, and as you exercise it, it becomes stronger. So there are certain exercises that will make your mind stronger and will enable you to direct your attention in more specific ways, so that enlightenment will be easier for you. And work with the body helps. If you don't work with the body, if that's not your profession, then it's a very good idea to become involved with sports and athletics in your free time. It really helps you develop a power of concentration, and it makes you strong, and you need to be strong to deal with this world and the powers and forces of this world that block enlightenment. But in addition to this, it's nice to pick a career that really taxes your mind, because as you use your mind in new and creative ways, not just doing routine tasks, you'll find that your mind will develop and become stronger, which will aid you in your meditation and in your self-discovery. Also, it's good to pick a profession that will give you enough money to give you the economic freedom to go where you need to go and do whatever you need to do and have whatever you need to have. Again, in setting up your life as a field of energy or power, so that you can go to the seminars or travel when you need to, have the kind of car you need, all the things we discussed earlier. that I discussed with you earlier. I recommend for many people the study of computer science. Obviously, it's a smart career choice. It's our country's #1 business now, and it will only become more so in the coming times as the economic climate of the world changes. It's our natural resource. In America, it's the mind. Certainly not cheap labor. But the mindset used in computer science is very similar to the mindset that we use in Zen and in the more advanced stages of self-discovery. And programming will aid a person in developing their mind and will aid their meditation, in my opinion. If you're not familiar with the world of programming, you might take a simple course in it. And then there are two ways to plunge into it. One is to go to a short-term computer school where you go for 6 months or 9 months or a year, either during the day full-time or in the evenings. And they train you usually in business programming to get your first job. The other approach is, of course, the traditional academic approach, and that's to go out and get a BS in it or a master's or doctorate or whatever. But I find that people who have pursued programming are doing much better in their meditation. Also, I'm very fond of law, the study of medicine,